Perfect. Okay, if you guys would like to start, you can.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm Faisal Hassan, head of Warehouse 421, and I'm delighted to have you all with us in this evening, in this very special evening. This is the second conversation that we have in this new series of conversations and films in partnership with Cinema Aqil. Tonight is a very special night for us because it marks our 5th anniversary. Tomorrow is the 5th anniversary for Warehouse 421, and we couldn't have had a better celebration than to celebrate it with our first and oldest and strongest partner, Cinema Aqil. Buthaina and Luz are dear friends, colleagues, and a backbone that we rely on for years and years so far. We're very delighted to have giants like artist Nujoom Ghanem and Ustad Khalid Budoor and Ustad Ibrahim Ustadi with us tonight to what I'm hoping and I'm sure will be a very interesting conversation. I'll hand it over to Buthaina to introduce the panelists more, and I'm looking forward to this discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Faisal. Thank you, all of you, for joining in this conversation. And a big, thank you and the show of sincere appreciation and gratitude for artist, poet, friend, Nujoom Ghanem for continuously being with us throughout throughout this journey and before. During this lockdown, we all do, or this strange period, we're post-lockdown, but in our minds, sometimes we feel like we're still there. You spend a lot of time, going through, different key moments in your learning. And I was going through this box that I've had, stowed away for about, 10 years. And I found this news clipping from, one of the most imprinting, moments that I somehow, had really been kind of gravitating towards over and over again without really realizing it. I found a news clipping from a talk I attended at the Dubai Women's College, at the Higher Colleges of Technology here in Dubai, where both Nujoom and Khalid were in attendance talking about about their first film that they worked on together, and how they met in Australia. And then it was early sort of days of essentially creating the base for documentary filmmaking here, and really paving the way for a lot of women filmmakers that came out of the UAE from those talks. So it was quite special to have been in the audience, to have heard that story at that particular point in time. And here we are over almost 10 films later, having this conversation. So it's a real honor for me personally. And of course, our friends from Warehouse 421, I can say this, every single time we get on a schedule, get on a program, live or digital, it's really something that we cherish, this relationship, this home, this edifice of celebration of art house, Arab art house cinema specifically, and that insistence on keeping that focus front and center as we all kind of do. A lot of revisions on on what our policies are, why we do what we do, and and why this matters. So this series is sort of a testimony and an ode to that vision. And of course, last but not least, a dear friend of mine and of the cinema, Ibrahim Ustadi, who we had the pleasure to have at the cinema multiple times in different capacities. He opened one of our biggest films this year, Satamutu fil 20, which actually became the first Sudani submission to the Oscars yesterday, actually. So it's quite a big deal. And so he's been with us through a lot of big moments, including tonight. I don't want to spend too much time because I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I just want to say that this program is quite unique, quite special. It focuses on documentary films from the region. We started with The Borrowed Dress by Lina Al Faisal. This is our second documentary film, and the last will be Talking About Trees by Sohaib Qasim Al-Bari, which will also be followed by a discussion. The thing that these films have in common is, beyond the form of documentary film, is sort of a real testimony to the human condition, to the learning of people whose lives have witnessed truths that we can't articulate through acquired knowledge, and you can only acquire over time. And those are the wisdoms that we will we've probably witnessed in the films that we've seen so far, and I'm really looking forward to hearing how that has been received by the audience that's joining us tonight. I'll just do a quick introduction. I mean, in Nujoom يعني غنية عن التعريف, as they say in Arabic, which is so I think you occupy a lot of different capacities and have been introduced multiple times. You're a poet, an artist, a scriptwriter. You're a multi-award-winning filmmaker, and this is something that I stand behind. The first Emirati filmmaker, women filmmaker in the UAE to produce films. So there's that hat amongst many others. Her documentaries have won several local and regional and international prizes, and she was born here in Dubai in 1962 and graduated with a master's in media production and from the School of Film at Griffith University in Australia. I mean, I could go on and on with her bio, but I really I think I'm looking forward to the actual conversation where Ibrahim will take a lot of that into the public domain. And of course, Ibrahim is a not only a media personality, in my opinion, one of the most charismatic, edgy Emirati media personalities out there, and he's also a theater actor and an artist who's active in the field. So I'm looking forward to have that to be witness, I guess, to that conversation in a very I think difficult time in many ways for people who are really rooted in the often neglected aspects of what we think of as the art sphere here. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to this conversation.
Thank you, Buthayna. Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you in this webinar, and to be honest, it's my first time to participate in a talk in English, so it's a bit challenging. I haven't done this years ago. But anyway, I'm so delighted to talk to our poet and cinematic couple who have been working together and completing each other for years. They share the passion for art, poetry, cinema, and I personally have watched a lot of their work. Nujoom, Ghanem, and Khalid Budoor, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you for hosting us.
And
before we start, please allow me to thank Warehouse 421 for their kind invitation, and thank Cinema Aqil, and personally thank Buthayna Kadham, our supporter, for so many years. And not only the supporter of our films, but the supporter of independent films in the region and in the Arab world. Thanks a lot, and we are delighted to be here tonight.
Tonight, as we all know, we're going to talk about a very special documentary I watched yesterday. And to be honest, I was captivated by the frames, the sound, the genuinity of Aisha, of Gharib, their strong connection with their land, attachment to their environment, to the extent that Aisha doesn't want to even visit her daughter for more than 2 days, she's one of a kind, honestly. Honey, Rain and Dust, a documentary that focuses on beekeepers or honeybee trackers and highlighting highlighting the conflict that threatens the continuity of honey tracking in the, I won't say in the UAE, but in the whole region. Before I start asking our speakers for tonight, I would like you all to interact by writing your questions in the box that is for Q&A, the Q&A box you can see on your Zoom window. So you can write your questions there, and I'm going to ask them on behalf of you. And if there is a chance in the last 10 minutes of the session, we will take your questions live. You can join us live and ask us in the last 10 minutes. So we're going to start with a very typical question. Nujoom, we're used to your cinematic line and your interest in human stories, but I should ask you this question. Where did you find this family?
Where did I find this family?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they are characters. I would say they are characters, and I always try to look for unique characters, extraordinary characters, and I keep asking, I keep reading about people who have very unique life and very unique professions. And I depend on whatever that is published in the newspapers, and I also depend on what my friends share with me. And this particular subject matter was raised by one of my friends, Abdulaziz Jassim. He is also a poet and a well-known journalist. He's the head of the cultural department in Al-Ittihad newspaper. So Abdulaziz mentioned one of the most unique characters in Ras Al Khaimah, who's working as a honey seeker or honey tracker, as you said. And I reached out to him, but unfortunately, we started the research, but I felt that he wasn't that enthusiastic about filming. He said, I'll give you all the information that you need, but I don't want to be filmed. And the reason was very strange. He said, my wife doesn't like me to be seen on TV. And and you know that, like, and talking about TV is another thing that we will talk about it later on. But that was the beginning of the story. So I was already hooked by the subject, and I already started the research and wrote the proposal and sent it to Senate. And then I was, I was there in the middle of the journey, not knowing what to do. And then Khalid joined, and he started working with me on finding other characters. And then we came along Gharib, and he was quite open and very enthusiastic. So we get Gharib, and because it's about an issue, so I kept searching for other characters, and I found Aisha.
Okay. Mr. Khalid, you are a storyteller, and you've been in radio and TV. You have your own podcast, you write. Do you believe that every story can be visually presented? The reason I'm asking this question is because I want to know why you and Nujoom decided to present this story as a documentary and not something else, not in another platform.
Well, let me first thank the Warehouse 421 and Cinema Aqil for this lovely event and screening of the film. So I thank them for all their efforts to enrich the cultural, cinematic, and artistic scene in the UAE here. So this is a wonderful opportunity to speak about this film. Actually, we were talking, remember that day it was just an idea, talking Nujoom, Abdulaziz, and me, and there was stories behind this honey thing, honey business or honey keeping. We found out that there are stories like mythological stories. There are some wonderful things. So at that time, Nujoom said we should do something about this. And when we started researching, we found out, yes, there are more into this story. Now, every film, as you know, it will depend on the people who will be shown in the film. So when you find someone who is captivated and has some unique story to tell, especially in a very unique also environment like the environment where Gharib lives and Aisha also lives, that was interesting. That for us was a very new subject, working in the middle of the mountains. We've been to working on the sea, in the desert, but the mountains has its own, mountains in the UAE have its own also characters of different life stories and scenic. You can tell a lot of stories through the scenic imagination of the cinema, as you see. So from that, we took it on.
Not a lot of documentaries and films highlight the mountain areas in the UAE. You know, most of our films are dramas, are documentaries. Even we mostly see the desert or the sea, but very rarely we see the mountains and the story behind them and what happened there hundreds of years ago. Nujoom, was it a challenge to convince the Gharib and his family, or Aisha and her family, to all be in the film?
They were quite open, as I said. There were other characters that we started working with them, but unfortunately, we didn't continue. They couldn't make it. And this is the nature of documentary and filmmaking and the nature of the research. Sometimes people, and I will go back to the story of the TV, like some people, they think that you are like a TV reporter. You would come and spend a couple of hours with them, film, and then leave, and then they will see whatever that was shot on TV. And that is the continuous challenge we face every time we go to to new characters, and especially those who are already have some experience with TV people. So they all say, "Is this TV?" Because they see the camera, of course. And it takes time to convince them that we need to work together for quite some time, and the research is different, and we need to approach their life slowly and gradually, and we need to know more about their characters and about the uniqueness of their work and of their life, of their how they manage their substance and other details. So this is a journey. I always say it's a journey, and you have to accept all the all the excitements, and also the difficulties and the challenges. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But we were lucky that Aisha and Gharib were, stayed with us and continued the film. And in fact, when they saw the film in Dubai International Film Festival, especially Gharib, he came back and said, "Come back again. We have other things to share with you, and we can continue the work." And we did. In fact, we did. After showing the film, we went back to Gharib's area and to Aisha and shot more stuff and re-edited the film.
Oh, okay. But I always wondered, how did you direct them in front of the camera? Because sometimes Aisha just sits there, talks and elaborates, you know, and sometimes it's even like the camera is not there.
Mm.
So how was
Well,
that?
yeah, well, I have, I have developed this anthropological approach for so many years and for so long. And this is something I've learned. And, I also thank God that I was a journalist in the early days. So I know how to deal with people, and I know how to accept whatever that is there. So part of the research and part of the journey is that you have to spend enough time with people. You have to let them understand the nature of your work and the challenges of your work, and to get used to the camera in front of them at the beginning. And sometimes, the very beginning of the shoot, uh, sometimes I don't use it because they tend to be nervous in front of the camera. So it takes time until they get used to us around them, and to feel normal and to feel relaxed in front of the camera. Then everything becomes easier.
Nice. Ustad Khalid, I want to talk a little bit about the tempo of the film. Now, I'm sure that you and Nujoom agree on whatever is going to be there for people to watch. But I want your point of view. I'm sure that some people told you that the tempo of the film, of the documentary, is a bit slow. For me, I saw it matching the lifestyle of the people we see in the documentary. The tempo of the film is exactly similar to their lifestyle, the rhythm of their lives. But don't you think you could have speeded it a little bit?
Well, this is an issue we face sometimes here, because I feel like people are used of dramatic films or some TV series where there's many actions going on and people talking, but to bring the life of normal people living in their normal environment, and to bring their natural reactions, how they go on with their lives every day-to-day life. It needs to be reflected in the film itself. I don't feel it is slow. It tells their stories. So that's from the director's point of view, it's how to tell the stories of those people. There are events happening in their lives, and the director like to highlight that these parts of their life that is unique to be shown to the people. So I don't feel like it should be shortened, even though although what you might the viewers might not know that there are many hours behind is cut already. I mean, there are lots of interviews, many scenes, because it's there are, you have to stay with an hour and 20 minutes, or like a feature documentary. You cannot go on 3 hours, or although there are films, but believe me, there are lots of stories that the director Nujoom took out because of she found that some unique points that enough to tell this story. But I don't think it's slow. No.
Nujoom, you're smiling. I think someone gave you the same.
Because I wanted to say something. You mentioned that you think that for this story the length is okay, and there is a logic behind why do you need to go slower with people like this. You cannot produce a Hollywood film, as Khalid said, like action film with a person like Aisha. It's very logical to go, to follow her own tempo, as you describe it, her own pace, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
And there is another logical reason why we had to go slower, because if you notice that the honey seasons are 3 seasons. Now they became 2 seasons. And in order to follow the seasons, you need time. And you need to reflect their waiting, the characters waiting to see the honey forming. So that's why you need just to respect that process and to reflect on it in the film.
Why did you start with the Canopus star?
Okay, the Canopus star is a major, is essential element, not only in the cycle of the honey cultivating cycle, but also in terms of ecosystem. And the other part is that these people, the farmers and the honey seekers, they follow the calendar, the astronomic. They have their astronomy calendar to follow. That helps them in the agriculture culture. So they follow Canopus star because it is the beginning of the cycle, the agricultural cycle. And they base their activities based on this cycle. So that's why it is, like Aisha, for example, she watches the stars and she has her own wisdom about astronomy. And, that uniqueness had also to be reflected somehow in the film, somewhere in the film.
Khalid, if we talk,
I just want also to add with Nujoom, Canopus or Suhail, Najm Suhail, or the star of Suhail, Canopus, is the start, as she said, the calendar of the people here in the sea, in the desert, in the mountains. It rises actually around 18th of August every year, and will start the local calendar and what they call here Budoor, or the At-Tawali', the season of stars. So it follows this, starts on the around 18th of August and goes in a cycle of like the fall or the autumn, the winter, or then the spring. So this cycle is counted by those honey keepers or the sea people or the desert people when they travel. So this is a very important major thing in their life. So Nujoom thought about starting the film with Canopus rising in the sky to mark the start of the life of the beekeepers starting to prepare their place or for Gharib, like, and for Aisha to know that there is something going on in the air. So it marks the start of the year, which is in the beginning of the fall.
Yes, Sir Khalid, I wanted to ask you about the الموارد المصادر اللي موجودة for research. Is it easy to find the right sources for a subject like this? I mean, I'm sure you've been through, there was a challenge in this journey and you came up with this beautiful product. But what about the future? I think we need more documentaries like this, but do we have enough resources?
Unfortunately, many of these areas of research in the cultural scene, the traditional cultural scene, is not written. I mean, you can't find a book about honey keepers in the UAE. You can find scattered interviews here and there. So we had to start in many of the films from zero. I mean, to go to the people themselves and hear their stories, their traditions, their life, and record it again and see build the story from that scratch. But many of the areas is not well documented or researched enough to be a good material for a film or a book. Still, there is lots of work must be done by cultural heritage centers to document and preserve this cultural heritage.
Yes. Ustad Nujoom, I think maybe I shouldn't give my point of view, but to be honest, the one shot that shaked me from inside is the shot where the two ants carry the dead bee. And I really want to know, how did you get that? How did you capture that?
Thank you for that question. The DOP, from the beginning, we agreed on having specific lenses, camera lenses, because we needed to film the bees inside the habitats. So Bill was very equipped, and he got this particular lens for these shots, the very close-up shots. And we were just waiting for all these creatures. We filmed so many ants, we filmed so many dead bees, and these were the most incredible scenes. And they reflect, the dangers the bees are facing, and also the cycle of their life.
Wonderful. There is a moment when Aisha told you not to follow her. Huh? But you did. At the end, you did. What did you do to convince her?
Well, Aisha had her own fear, because she thought that we were we were from TV, and we were going to show her farm on TV, and she had so many stories about other farms and other farmers who get robbed by thieves. So she was afraid that if her farm was shown on TV, thieves are going to come and steal her goods. And that was the issue. And I felt that story was very fascinating. So I kept telling her, don't worry, we are not going to show this film in TV, and you must entrust me now and show me your farm. And it happened at the end.
Can you just tell us where did the shooting take part exactly?
When?
Where?
Where? Yeah. It was in Shis, and it was where Aisha lives, and Gharib, he lives in in Al Fujairah.
How long
Wadi Shis is now is the new tunnel to Khor Fakkan. It's in the middle between two of those. It's called Wadi Shis, and it's a very beautiful mountain areas.
It must be beautiful, even.
And the honey, the best honey is there.
I'm sure you had a lot of honey, you and Khalid.
It was the honey that Aisha cultivated, really, honestly speaking.
I'm sure you had a lot of honey through this journey.
And my whole concept about honey has changed because of this film.
Allah, that's nice. I was thinking about the cameraman all the time. I mean, okay, I know that Gharib and Asher, they are used to bees, but your cameramen, how did they manage to take all these shots?
Did you hear Gharib saying Emirati bees are kind and peaceful? They are. That is the truth. We were around the bees all the time, but they never stung us.
Oh, that's nice. That's wonderful. Okay, there is something that really I noticed in the film, especially when I read the end credits, about the Foley artists, and you had a group of Foley artists. in this film. What was it so difficult to record from the nature?
Well, look, we make you know, films, cinematic films, and this is very natural step, very normal step, and especially because you need to you know, to emphasize certain area. For example, when Aisha is waiting, during this waiting for the time to pass, and when you see the ants carrying the dead bees, you need the specific sound effects for these shots, and these you know, these effects, these sound effects are very hard to find during production. Sometimes I want wind, and during our shooting time or shooting days, there might not be any wind there. So you need to create that in the post-production. Nice. And we had amazing Foley artists, and I had amazing sound mixer with me. He's amazing. Sound
I have a question from one of the attendees. He is asking, or she is asking, I'm not sure exactly, where can we reach your library of films?
Ask Khalid al-Budoor.
Khalid.
Well, this is an
Khalid's library.
This is an issue. You see, these are films, unique films done with the hardship and lots of cost, and we cannot just offer them free on the market. The only way to see the films is through like Cinema Aqil or through some of the platforms in the cultural organizations here in UAE, and hopefully in the coming future we will have some of our films on Netflix, hopefully, although it's still still in the first stages of it, but this is our hope in the future.
Nice. I also have a question for you, Mr. Khalid. Margin of subjects, يعني في هوامش من المواضيع appeared in the film as part of the family's lifestyle, such as their objection of foreign marriage, or the majlis of Gharib, والحديث, the talks that goes on there. Was it there for a reason?
Well, this completes their lives. Actually, what is their issues in life? What do those people? What concerns them? What matters for them? What makes them happy? What makes them involved in some issues of life? So through, as Nujoom said, through the research, the initial research, and through the collecting of their stories, we would like, we find some subjects that is good to be highlighted, like one of the sons of Aisha, his issue living in UK, and he will be back. He might marry some foreign wife and bring her. Is that acceptable or not? These are issues involved. I mean, these are very important issues on those in their lives. So when collecting these stories through the interviews, the director like to show highlights those stories, and this gives the depth of the character itself and bring us closer to them, to their dreams, to their emotions, to their desires.
Nice. Nujoom, what can you say about this?
Well, just to follow what Khalid said, to add to what he said, it is. I mentioned at the beginning that I follow anthropological approach, and it is part of this type of research that you have to highlight people's life, people's details, and to make them look real, real people. They are real people. They are true people. They have their own concerns. They have their own fears. And it is good to see the other dimensions of these characters, not only to be there just to show you the beast or just to show you the habitats. So, you know, it makes you also relate to their issues, relate to them.
In Sanad's website, it mentioned that the film's budget is $590,000 US. Is that the budget of the film, or this is their part of fund?
No. The film was in dirham, 500,000. That was not in dollar, and they contributed about half of the budget. No, less than half. Much less than the half. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 30%.
Yes. Khalid knows the money side.
So I want to know, since he knows the money side, how do you prepare the file and you propose to the funder or to the supporter in this project exactly? How did you make them believe and want to support?
You are asking Khalid or asking me?
Khalid, since he's the money guy.
But the proposal is not put by the you know, the budget. The budget is just a one element of the proposal.
Yeah, this is what I want to know, the other elements.
Usually, through the initial stage, we will gather some information, and Nujoom will put it in a proposal with some time, like a short 5 minutes or something, to give the feel of the film. So there are this type of approach, that is, you approach the funders through giving them some idea of the film through the filming part of the film.
Usually in Nahar Productions, we start the filming to make like at least 10 to or 7 to 10 minutes, like very short sample of the film. And this example or this sample, we attach it to the proposal. And the proposal, of course, includes the idea of the film, includes the approach of the filming, includes the style of the camera work, includes the characters, who are the characters, and includes the concept, how you are going to approach it. It includes all the details related to, to give the funders or the fund contributors, to give them an idea to imagine, or to give them, just an insight about the film. And in our case, we always like to bring something that they can see and to feel that we've already started the project.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question.
But to tell you the truth, we have to start the film. We have to pay for lots of things, especially the research, to reach that point of. So the funders with maximum will support with 50 to 60% of the budget, but we have to start that on our own.
That's nice. So I have a question. I mean, the attendees, you can start asking your questions since we have 10 minutes left for the session. There is a question from another anonymous attendee. I wonder why their names are not appearing for me. Thank you so much for your film and for being here. I wanted to ask Nujoom specifically, if considering that you do this ethnographic research, have you ever felt difficulty in accessing some people or spaces because of gender separation? in this or in other films? If so, how do you go about it?
Okay, thank you for this question. Yes, I've come through some difficulties because of my gender, and these issues, these difficulties were in two cases, in fact, throughout my career as a film director. One of them was, very, very hard to, very hard to object. I had to accept it because there wasn't any way that I can object. And that was with our first feature documentary, Al Murid, because it is about Sufi practice, and it is a male dominating area, and it was just very difficult to be in the middle of dhikr. Dhikr is one of the rituals of the Sufi practice. So I had to direct my camera, my DOP from behind the window. And I accepted this situation because I wasn't able to do anything. The second experience was with Sounds of the Sea, and I had to deal with 5 male characters, and I wasn't able to step inside their personal or individual lives because they refused to let me into their households. So I had always to meet them around on the shores or in the society, the art society in Al Gawain or other places, but not in their houses.
Usually, this problem overcome by time. When you see the people one time, second time, and third time, so they are used of Nujoom being around. But yeah, some male dominant societies, it's very, very hard to enter in the beginning.
And the opposite, Ustad Khalid, if you wanted to access a female dominated
yes, as a man, that is also an issue.
Very difficult. Yeah. I wanted to ask you because in the film we've seen how, I don't know what to call the kasarat in English, kasarat.
Quarrying, I think, the construction.
Yeah. I wanted to know how really bad is the situation and how threatening it is for the honeybee trackers.
Okay, there are some factors, Ibrahim, and why there's a problem. Why is there is a danger encountering the bees? And these factors, including not only the construction, but also the amateur honey collectors who scare away the bees or hurt them. This is one of the factors. The second one is the decline of rainfall and the death of trees, the death of flowers, the destruction the destruction of habitats, and the destruction of habitats sometimes caused by the construction and quarrying. And some honey hunters or seekers, they stated that the last time wild honey was found in this area in abundance was in 2005, where the life was cleaner, and then nature was different, and there was enough rain.
Yes.
So the situation is getting harder and harder because also because of the warming, the climate.
Global warming.
And there is the problem of construction and the cement factories also. This is a very dangerous, the dust of these factories are, polluting the areas of the honeybees. So I think it should be looked at it from the environmental point of view of in UAE. We have to look at these because it is also this causes death not only for the bees, also for the habitats like the natural trees like the ghaf or cedar or all these beautiful trees are dying in some areas in the mountains because of these construction and cement factories.
There is a question that someone wrote, but I think they did not join us from the very beginning because they're asking about where in the UAE is the film set. And you already mentioned that, but if you can
there are two places. The first one is Wadi Shis, and Wadi Shis located now in the middle of the mountains when you enter the new tunnels from Sharjah to Khorfakan, so in the middle. And the second area is in the mountains of Fujairah Mountains, high in the mountains near the Diba area. So these are the areas.
There is a question that says, thank you for a very gentle and delicate film. One can see approach to the ethnography, but the feel is also very poetic in its form. I'm not familiar with your poetry, but I feel that the structure of the film, the waiting for the seasons, the connection to the land scene was filmed with the care of a poet. Did you find your poetry influencing the manner in which you edited and structured the film?
Well, yeah, you cannot stop being a poet when you go shoot, and vice versa. And poetry, and especially a Budoor science, it is very fascinating, and it was the poetry inside the film. And there were so many lyrics and so many poems related to this science, the astronomy science. So the poetry is already there. It is already embedded in the film, and I'm very happy that you touched that.
Visual poetry. Nice. I want to ask Luz and the guys if we're going to take the questions by video, or the attendees will only write down their questions. Can anybody answer me?
In the webinar format, regularly it's written, but if any attendees feel like they want to say something to Nujoom with their camera, that's also possible. They can write it on the chat, and I can allow them to do that. So if anybody else has any final thoughts or final questions, I encourage you to write them now before the session closes.
Yeah, because we have only 3 minutes left, and I have a last question for Nujoom and for Khalid. Do you think the bees are going to end?
That's a question for scientists, Ibrahim. But scientifically, bees are keeping the ecosystem of this universe. They are very important for our ecosystem. And human beings, they have to stop chasing the bees. They have to stop harming the bees. And they have to think again and again about nature, about environment. And we are witnessing nowadays the COVID we are facing. And the fact that we had to encounter this difficult time was very beneficial to nature. Nature started healing, started recovering. And that is very important for us as a human being to realize and to take into consideration for the future. We need to all to survive, not only as humans, but all the creatures and on this beautiful planet. They have the right to survive in peace and in a very clean environment and in a very humanistic or a humanistic way. So this is a question to scientists to answer if the bees are kept, if the bees encounter all these challenges, I don't know what is the result is going to be. But
because this is a question that Aisha asked in the film when she said ما أذكر جملتها بالضبط.
She's a very wise woman. She can read things. Yeah.
Khalid, what do you think?
I think the bees will continue living there, but they are suffering as people suffer. When we lose our environment, like our trees and our and also some of the cities are eating the natural areas of the forests, or the warming of the climate. We have to think about also that we have to really put much effort in making greener areas, especially when we think about building new areas. We have to think about making putting more trees that will bring more bees and other creatures in our beautiful planet.
Khalid, Budoor and Nujoom Ghanem, thank you very much. I had a lot of fun watching this film and having this conversation with you. And I would like to thank Cinema Aqil and Warehouse for giving me this chance.
Okay, thank you, Ibrahim, for your presence, for your questions, and for being with us, for hosting us. And thank you again to Cinema Aqil and Warehouse 421. Thank you, Faisal, for inviting us. We are so happy to be here, and we love you.
Thank you.
Me too. I'd like to thank Ibrahim.
Thank you, Luz.
Faisal, Cinema Aqil, and Warehouse 421 to having us here. We are very happy to be with you.
Thank you so much to both of you. From my personal side, I wanted to say thank you for teaching me so much about the country that I reside and live in. I have learned so much through your documentaries over the years, and I am a very, very big admirer of your work. And I thank you both for giving us the opportunity to have this conversation. And we hope to do it again and to overcome this situation and do it in person, inshallah, next time.
We will, and we are together in this business, in this industry, and we have this solidarity, as they say.
Of course. Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you so much for hosting for us, for moderating this wonderful talk. And thank you all. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.